32 cases, 8 temporary restraining orders, and a couple of preliminary injunctions. That's how Donald Trump's Department of Justice is starting off in his first 14 or 15 days of his administration. They're already circling the drain when it comes to federal judges who have just been waiting to pay Donald Trump back for what happened on Jan 6th and all those pardons. And federal judges from all of New England, up and down the Pacific Northwest and District of Columbia are standing ready to preserve our rule of law and our democracy. I talk about it more in detail. This terrible week for Donald Trump, end to end, in courts around the country on Popok Live on the Midas Touch Network on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. And here's a clip. Firstly, the majority of the cases that are being filed and where successful TROs, temporary restraining orders, are being obtained is in the District of Columbia, federal district judges. Where have we spent a lot of time talking about DC federal judges? Oh, right. They were the ones that handled the 1,600 Jan 6 cases, and none of them were very pleased when Donald Trump pardoned those criminals, right? And so now we're going to see the revenge of the Jan 6 federal judges who now are ready to rule against the Trump administration. I mean, that is the federal judge group that is going to be involved with more of these lawsuits that I'm going to talk about tonight and for the next 4 years than probably any other collection of judges. And they are ready to come back after Donald Trump. Retaliation? No. But these are not the judges that most of them who lean moderate to liberal that Donald Trump's going to want to be up against. And because the agencies and the departments of the Trump administration are the ones who are more likely the defendants, DC is the place to sue them. Not the only place, but it is the place to sue them. So think about DC. But also, as I've outlined, we'll talk about tonight, think about all the other blue states and blue federal courts where these 31 cases have been filed. Let me summarize it this way. I'll tell you where they haven't been filed. They haven't been filed in Texas, in Alabama, in Louisiana, in Mississippi, in Missouri. Okay? That's not where they're getting Florida. That's not where they're getting filed. Yeah? They're getting filed in New Hampshire. See if you can figure out the common denominator here. New Hampshire, Massachusetts, New York, New Jersey, the District of Columbia, Washington State, Oregon, California. See where I'm going with this? That's where these cases are being filed. Because not only are we more likely to find like-minded federal judges there, independent judicial, I'm not making any aspersions against them. They're independent. They're as independent as the Texas judges that the Trump people always like to go to, the Texas two-step to get them to the Supreme Court. We got our own jig. We got our own dance that we can do. And that's where all the 31 are filed, from Maryland up to Rhode Island and California up to Washington State. And that's where they're going to stay in DC. Yeah. Because the appellate courts is the next stop. And those appellate courts are also liberal, moderate appellate courts. The 9th in the West Coast. The 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd, running down the coast, the East Coast. The DC appellate court, Court of Appeals. That's where we're going to live or die. And so far, Donald Trump is dying. I told you at the top of this Popok Live that the success rate in the first term for public interest groups and attorneys general and the like against the Trump administration in 1,000 cases was about 80%. Right now, it's 1,000. They're batting 1,000 in the TROs and the future injunctions and on the other cases because they're in the right and on the side of the angels, and Donald Trump is wrong. The other common denominator besides that, let me just complete the thought, because I know a lot of people in the chat are saying, yeah, but the Supremes. Yeah, the Supremes. And the Supremes on criminal and presidential power and immunity and insurrection ballot issues, terrible. But not all these cases are going to end up at the United States Supreme Court, because not all cases end up with the United States Supreme Court. There are tens of thousands of cases that are filed every year in state and federal court. 60 end up at the United States Supreme Court. When I graduated law school in whatever it was about 100. But this last 10 years, last 5 years under Roberts, it shrunk. They get 60 cases, which means the other 9,000 cases stay at the trial court or the appellate court level right below the Supreme Court. That's where justice is done on a daily basis. They can't take all the cases. They're not going to take all the cases. And that's why we're flooding. I'm going to talk to you about the 31. It's multiple lawsuits on the same issue by different affected parties in different courts on purpose, not because of total lack of coordination, although I don't think they're all coordinating, but they all know they're going to file on the same day. You know, when birthright citizenship was successfully attacked, there was a small group of attorneys general that went to Seattle, and there was another group, you know, including the ACLU and all, that went to New Hampshire, and filed on the same day. Now they coordinated. Same thing on the federal funding freeze or the impoundment cases. There is a group of attorneys general that went in one jurisdiction. There's a group of affected parties that are not-for-profits that went to another jurisdiction. And that's another reason, because you want to try to, at a portfolio method, you want to try to balance this just in case you get a crappy judge. Let's just call it out for what it is. You get a crappy ruling. Oh, crap, I filed that one case there and I got that crappy ruling. I filed 5 cases on the same point in federal court and I got 4 good rulings and 1 bad ruling. That's the portfolio method. And then you can kind of drop your crappy case and take your other cases up on appeal. Get it? That's what we're watching. Mastery. And shout out to Norm Eisen, who's been on the Midas Touch Network a number of times, because he is behind a number of the lawsuits I'm going to talk about tonight. He's not just Security or that guy that shows up on some of our podcasts or being interviewed. He's a practicing lawyer the way I am. And he's out there with a new group that he's formed just since the election. He's got a couple of them that weren't even around in the first go around for Donald Trump. Donald Trump's first go around, the leading edge, the tip of the spear against him successfully were groups like the ACLU, Southern Poverty, NAACP. And believe me, they're ready. They're ready to come back in. But right now, I'll tell you who's leading the charge. Norm Eisen, Mark Elias, and about 22 different attorneys general around the country, including California, Washington, and New York. And that's who is the Profile in Courage right now. And they are winning. In fact, I'm going to go over a number of these cases just so you can keep track of them. Welcome back. That was a new podcast that we've launched on the Midas Touch Network, Popok Live. It's me, live, for about an hour talking about things at the intersection of law and politics that you've come to expect from my brand of analysis and commentary. It's law and politics, it's law, it's world events, it's the economy, it's pop culture. It depends on what my mood is that particular day. We got about 500,000 viewers joining us every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the Midas Touch Network. And then we're going to have audio podcasts downloads as well. So if you like what's going on here, Legal AF, hit the subscribe button. Popok Live on Tuesdays. And of course, Legal AF, the OG podcast of them all at the intersection of law and politics. So until my next report, I'm Michael Popok. I'm Michael Popok, and I got some big news for our audience. Most of you know me as the co-founder of Midas Touch's Legal AF and the Legal AF YouTube channel, or as a 35-year national trial lawyer. Now, building on what we started together on Legal AF, I've launched a new law firm, the Popok Firm, dedicated to obtaining justice through compassionate and zealous legal representation. At the Popok Firm, we are focused on obtaining justice for those who have been injured or damaged by a life-altering event, by securing the highest dollar recoveries. I've been tirelessly fighting for justice for the last 35 years, so my own law firm organically building on my legal AF work just feels right. And I've handpicked a team of top-tier trial fighters and settlement experts throughout all 50 states known as big auto injury attorneys who have the know-how to beat heartless insurance companies, corporations, government entities, and their attorneys. Big Auto's attorneys working with my firm are rock stars in their respective states and collectively responsible for billions of dollars in recoveries. So if you or a loved one have been on the wrong side of a catastrophic auto, motor vehicle, rideshare, or truck accident, suffered a personal injury, or been the victim of medical malpractice, employment harassment or discrimination, or suffered a violation of your civil and constitutional rights, then contact the Popok firm today at 1-877-POPOK-AF or by visiting my website at www.thepopokfirm.com and fill out a free case evaluation form. And if we determine that you have a case and you sign with us, we don't get paid unless you do. The Popok firm, fighting for your justice every step of the way.